The Talmud says, whoever saves one life saves the world. If this is your first time joining me, welcome to Transforming Your Life Through Storytelling. This past Friday was International Holocaust Remembrance Day. But today, I'm not here to talk to you about the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews were exterminated. I'm also not here to tell you that 20%, 1.2 million of them were children. That's 1 in every 5 of us. But what I want you to do is take a look at this glass jar. The real ones were 4 in total, much like this one, containing 2,500 pieces of paper, each a name, each containing hope, buried under an apple tree. So it is my great honor to share with you the story of a remarkable woman whose courage and compassion should be a lesson to us all. An example of how an ordinary person can give the world extraordinary results. Enjoy the story. Warsaw, Poland, February 15, 1910, Irena Sendler was born to a Roman Catholic family. Instilled with a great respect for human life, she believed that if someone was drowning, you must do your best to save them, even if you don't know how to swim. This had a profound impact on Irena, who chose to become a social worker. In 1939, Germany invades Poland, and by 1942, over 500,000 Jews were being persecuted and imprisoned in what is known as the Warsaw Ghetto, where disease and starvation conditions were unbearable. 5,000 Jews were dying each month, and the rest, they just awaited to be transported to death camps. As a social worker, Irena was put in charge of the children's department, and part of her duties included traveling by ambulance to the ghetto to vaccinate Jews against typhoid and tuberculosis to prevent the spread outside the compound. When Irena found out that all these people, including the children, were destined to be sent to the Treblinka death camp, she began to formulate a plan. It was here where Irena's extraordinary work was born. Irena began to gather people she trusted to join her effort to help the children escape. She first had to persuade the parents to give up their children to her care, that while she could not make any guarantees, that the chances of surviving were greater than at the ghetto. So I want you to imagine for 1 second if you were one of those parents. What would you have done? A true testament of love, as many parents with agonizing pain agree to give up their children in order to give them a chance at life. Of course, the undertaking was not an easy task. The ghetto was surrounded by high security, and the officers controlled the Jews' every move. Irena organized the older children to escape through the sewer system and were later met and transported to safety in her ambulance. Irena figured out that the smaller babies could fit into the toolboxes the carpenters used and potato sacks. Of course, smuggling the babies was not easy because they cried, and the Nazis would inspect the vans leaving the ghetto. To prevent the Nazis from discovering the babies, the driver helping Irena would keep his dog on the front seat, and the dog was trained to bark each time an officer approached the car. This way, it helped mask the cries of the babies. In some cases, the very young were given a few drops of sedative to help them sleep and were smuggled out in coffins. Once each child was out, they received a new identity and sent to religious convents in Poland and across Europe. Many of them were given to Christian families who risked their lives to adopt them. Irena promised the Jewish parents that she would keep detailed records of where the children were going so that one day they could be reunited. And that she did. Each time a child was smuggled out, Irena would keep the name in code form of the original name and the new identity, and would bury the information in those glass jars under an apple tree at a neighbor's garden. Sadly, on October 12, 1943, Irena's activities were uncovered. In prison, she was brutally tortured. Both arms and legs were broken, leaving her crippled for life. Sentenced to death after not revealing the information of the whereabouts of the children or the identities of her supporters, she was rescued at the last minute on the way to the execution by the Segota organization when they bribed one of the guards to check off her name from the list of those already executed. Irena was taken out of Poland and given a new identity, and she remained there for the rest of the war. As soon as the war ended, Irena kept her promise. She returned to Poland to retrieve the glass jars containing 2,500 names. With the help of many Jewish organizations, the children were reunited with their surviving parents. Unfortunately, many of those had perished at the hands of the Nazis. In 1965, Israel honored Irena for her humanitarian efforts. She was decorated Righteous Among the Nations, the highest honor given by the Jewish people to non-Jews who risked their lives to save Jews during the Holocaust. In 2003, Irena was awarded Poland's highest honor, the Order of the White Eagle. And finally, in 2007, she was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. You'll be happy to know that Irena lived to nearly 100 and was well cared for until her death on May 12, 2008. Now here's the beautiful part. Her principal caregiver was an appreciative doctor who at the age of 6 months had been smuggled by Irena in a carpenter's toolbox. I don't know about you, but I love this story. It restores my faith in humanity. It shows that in the midst of horror, there can always be hope. And in the face of death, there is still life. It is a story of courage where good prevails over evil. Irena's courage not only enabled the survival of 2,500 Jewish children, but the survival of their children and their children's children, saving this way an entire nation. As a mother of 2 beautiful Jewish girls from Polish descendants who survived the Holocaust, I honor Irena's efforts today and always. We have all been witness to the horrors of Hamas recently on Israel and the Jewish people around the world. So if you're watching this video and you're not Jewish, but you have even an ounce of humanity, I ask you to not stay silent. Say something, do something. Never assume that because you're just one person that you cannot make a difference. Just remember the story of Irena and the words of the Talmud that bears repeating. Whoever saves one life saves the world. So please share this video and help me honor the woman who did just that.